It did seem very weird for them in the dev stream one day to turn around and say, oh, here's Baruuk Prime, he's going to be coming with the Cobra and Crane Prime and the Afuris Prime, but we're not going to say when it is. Then the next day they turn around and went, oh, he's launching December the 14th. But they did give us an amazing image for him. Yes, that's right, these are now available now. And we can get our first look at, well, basically the accessories. There is the Sandana, the ephemera that looks like it's just part of his mandala going around him, and a prime mandala itself. I don't have that thing on my landing craft. You can, of course, if you want to, go and buy the prime access that will bring the weapons, the frame, and if you buy Seren Storm, you will get the accessories with it. Just like you could moments earlier with... yeah, this is now gone. They didn't give a warning that they were getting rid of Revenant's Prime Access at all. Usually they give people a week's warning so they can get a hold of the accessories if they want it. There was nothing. It's just poof, gone. And I'm glad to say in the Codex he isn't doing that sitting pose, which is a pretty useful thing because they kind of pushed that a lot. But sprint speed of 1.2, his normal one, still has 1.2. So the buff, his armor's gone from 175 to 225. And his health's gone from 75 to 75. So is it the shields that have gone up? Yes. So it's armor and shields that have gone up. Everything else is basically exactly the same. His abilities still work the same. He has just gone from this, and we'll have to give this a second to actually zoom out, to a much better version of him. Oh, I wish we could... well, technically this is the Codex, so I have zero control over this, but he's always been a pretty decent looking frame, even though there is part of him just missing in it. Yeah, that's one of his abilities. The bullets are just going through him and there is part of the frame missing. So can't really tell visually the difference between the two. That's just primer. Oh, I've regretted saying that the second it came into my head, but he's just better looking. I like the back of the helmet. I'm not too fussed about the front of it. I think I prefer that helmet from the front than that one. But every other angle, perfectly fine. With parts, of course, for the Baruuk Prime frame coming from the Axi B5 Relic, which will have the Neuroptics instantly straight off with the Ray. The Lith B10 will have... the Blueprint as the Ray. That's 2 Rays, which means we have the Systems as a common on the Meso R5, and the Neo A8 has the chassis as the uncommon, but 2 rares. That is rare. And this is the one that has people just that little tiny bit worried about their choice of other weaponry that they gave him when everybody was hoping for a sentinel or a companion or something along those lines, and we got the Afuris Prime instead. We have the Afuris Prime, the Dex Furis, the normal Furis, and the Mark 1 Furis. Did we really need a Prime version? Well, this is where it can get slightly more interesting with the 5, 12, nope, try 16% crit chance and 30% status with 26 total damage. Multiplier staying the same. That's better than the Dex Furis, the anniversary weapon of the game. The Dex stuff only gets released usually in March, unless they decide they're going to delay everything like they have done in the past, then sometimes April, but it should be around the second last week of March, the Dex Furis will be available again. This is a weapon that is not available in-game apart from for maybe a few days out of the whole year. 16 total damage, 28% status, 14% crit. Nope, these do 16% crit, 30% status, and 26 total damage. Yep. Okay. Maximum ammo of 400. That's about the same as the Dex Furis. Fire rate's still 20. This one is 12.5. So even though the damage has gone up, the fire rate has gone down. Don't worry, it's nothing Lethal Torrent won't fix. And because there is 2 of these on the Axii N10 relic, you will find the prime barrel. You might need 2 of these, with the blueprint being a common drop on the Lith G6 relic, the Meso A4 relic having the receiver as the rare, and the Neo K5, where is it? There. The link being the uncommon. And because the link is there, that means, well, you're going to need 2 receivers. And actually, I don't know. 1 blueprint, 2 receivers, and 2 barrels. Where's the handle? That's kind of weird, but whatever. You will probably need 2 parts of everything because this is a dual wielding weapon, which is a bit of a shame, but it's just how the prime stuff works because there's 2 of them. As for the Cobra and Crane Prime, the first strike in a combo stuns enemies when wielded by Baruuk, which can be pretty useful right up until the point you realise, oh, 300 total damage, it's 4 more. Okay, it's 15% crit chance and 36%, 38% status, 18%. Yeah. Not great to start off with, but then the numbers on these can be very deceiving. You look at them and it's a very slight upgrade. It's nothing major. It's gone from an attack speed of 0.917 to 1. Yes, they have increased the attack speed, which means that it's going to be doing more damage. Because obviously the DPS is going to go up on it. And increase the crit chance, and increase the status chance, and increase the damage itself. So all in all, well, 1,500 for the heavy attack. Yeah, it doesn't go up by much. It's the fact that it has the increased attack speed and the increased damage make it much better. I just wish it didn't go into the floor like that. Whoever modelled this, that hand needed to be pointing further up when he does that. So he doesn't just put the end of the sword straight into the floor. It just looks like... it just looks weird. Not going to criticise it past that. Because, to be fair, the shield looks so much nicer than that. And that's where things with this get very, very interesting, because the sword and the shield come from 4 different relics. The Axii G9 having the blade. Obviously there's only one of those. The hilt for the blade. So that's the sword accounted for, coming from the Lith H7. So the Meso K5 obviously going to have the blueprint. What's left? Because the Neo C3 has the guard. Well, that's just the sword. Where's the shield come from? Unless you call the guard the actual shield itself. It's the only bit that makes sense. So in theory there should be another one, because that shield's fairly big. It's not like it's a tiny shield, is it? So we have the handle, the blade, and the guard. And the blueprint that puts them together. But it's this thing I wanted to be able to actually have a look at, but without buying the prime accessories is next to impossible, and it just looks like the little parts that kind of pop up here are golden. Kind of annoying to whoever coded this to make that bar at the top zoom in when you try to zoom in on the website, but hey, that's just being picky, especially since the background didn't, but never mind. You can kind of see them there. There's going to be obviously some gold effects to it, but it just kind of it's this, which I'm having to use in here because I have one, but I cannot for the life of me find it. But as expected, there is other things that have come in this. They've used that same image yet again, which is why I started in the forum post that they posted on the 29th of November instead of starting it here, which would be the news about Hotfix 32.2.5. Since when was a prime drop a hotfix. No, this should be update 32.3, especially since they're basically not doing anything for the rest of the year. Why they insisted on making this a hotfix, I will never know. Primes have always been updates. They've gone to some weird numbering system these days that makes kind of no sense. Instantly gain access to the Prime form in blah 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 blah. Obviously entering the Prime Vault was Octavia Prime, the Tenor Prime and the Pandero Prime. I'm just looking for what happened to the previous Prime access. It doesn't even mention the fact that Revenant is gone. It's just, oh, here's the new one. We're not going to mention the fact that Revenant Prime access is now gone forever. Until it comes with the Prime Resurgence stuff, which is where it will appear sometime in the future. Or the fact that, you know, they usually give you a week's notice before this happens. Technically they did, they just never mention the fact that Revenant Prime access was in. For the record, Revenant Prime with the Phantasma Prime and the Tatsu Prime are still available. They still drop in game. It's just his Prime accessories that are no longer available. They will only be available in the Prime Resurgence once they have been added to that, which will kind of take a while. They have added the Helmet segment bundle into the in-game market that includes the Helmet segment and the Invigoration segment, but you have to be Mastery rank 8 before you can buy that. A few other little things they've changed. Fix the Luathrax and sentient enemies not scaling in conjunction survival missions. Will admit that was kind of an issue, but I think they should have also included the Void Gel to drop from those 2 missions so people can actually build her. They have improved error handling and a bunch of fixes towards a lot of the bosses. Basically, their weak spots weren't working, and yeah, if you want to have a look through the rest of these, I will leave a link in the description below to the forum post. But basically, this entire thing, everything in this update, everything of importance, will appear here on the marketplace. I'm glad to see the Prime Access actually return to the in-game market. Revenant has just been missing for some reason because they added this little option that moved Prime Access out of the way, which kind of made people forget about it. Here's a much better version of an already good frame that comes with a pretty decent melee weapon, mainly because it had the attack. God, sticking in the floor again. And honestly, what I think I'm going to try and get first is going to be the Afuris Prime, simply to answer the question of, well, are they better or are they worse than the other 4 Furis in the game? Granted, they're better than every one of them stat-wise, or are they? And with that, we'll leave this off here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.